Hi, everyone. Hello, Irvine. We are so excited to have you here today on Business Inspiration. This is a great day to learn and to grow and to see how you too can be inspired in your business and moving forward. Today, I am very excited to have my friend, my colleague, Irvine Nugent. He is such a well, quite frankly, he's just such a smart dude. He knows things that I don't know. So he knows things I don't know. Well, I hope so. Good grief. And I may know something you don't know either. How
Yes, you
about that,
do.
Irvine? We are just sharing away today.
Uh,
Irvine, you are the CEO of EQ Leadership Center. EQ. That's a scary topic for a lot of people, especially engineers and accountants, I think. Um,
it is, and sometimes I get a lot of resistance back. So with the engineers that I work with.
Absolutely. Yeah, I bet you do. That's fabulous. I love it. So, hey, let's just leap in here. How are you? How are you doing? How's your business? What's going on?
So I would say, I call the COVID times kind of a tale of two cities, kind of, Charles Dickens. So but except it was the worst of times, and then it really was the worst of times. But when it started, I'm a resilient person. I grew up in Northern Ireland, so when the bombs were going off around me, I said, to hell with it, we're going to build. And so when this happened, my immediate instinct was to rebuild, was to kind of, okay, I'm going to get through this. And then I got to confess, about 3 weeks ago, this realization happened. This is not going away soon. I had in my mind this fairy tale going on that by October, it would all be over. I'd be out. I'd be doing everything would return to normal, and that's not going to happen. So I kind of it really was tougher the second time than I think the first, and I really had to. Dan, I have to say, I have to grieve a little bit for, just for the things that were lost, for the simple things, and to readjust and almost to recommit that this is a longer path, and potentially it is a new way of living in certain ways. So yeah, that's kind of been my reaction.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very different, I think, because for me at least, when it first started, I think we all believed that, oh, we're just doing this for, a month or two. Oh, by June, everything's going to be happy, snappy. And now I think we're into that, oh no phase. It's longer than we thought.
Yeah.
And so I think I know that's where I am.
Mhm.
Um, I live in Wyoming, and if we don't like something, we just shoot it. That's only a joke. We don't shoot anything. But we just, we tough it out. We work through it. We don't let things stop us. And things aren't necessarily stopped, but it does make us rethink what we need to do and how to do it. Absolutely. So now that we know, and I don't like the term new normal. I think it's our new reality. I don't like the normal thing because I'm not sure what was normal anyway. But um, how do you see the business climate moving now that most of us are coming to this epiphany of, this is not going to be the same. How do you see us moving forward?
So I think my experience, I'd answer that in two ways. I think number one is what I'm hearing, feeling, and seeing from the clients that I'm working with, which tend to be a little more corporate clients. So I think they have got into a groove of, I would say they're going through the same thing. So they got into a groove of dealing with the reality as it was, moving to a virtual platform. And now as well, they're facing, well, this is going to continue. This is going to last a lot longer. So how can we sustain that? Just from a simple point of view, I work with a few professionals who are now working from home full time. They have kids. And the emotional strain and stress, I think, was totally unexpected. There's part of it, oh, I get to work from home, I get to wear pajamas, I get to do all these great things, but I also have to homeschool my kids. I also have to manage that. I have to manage their emotions, I have to manage my emotions. Oh, and by the way, my business expects me to be on practically 24 hours a day. So I think the unexpected notion of that stress, I think they're struggling with, and part of the work that I do is helping them through that. But then for me personally as a business, I think part of that is, I still think it's meeting clients for what they're at, where they're at. I think a lot of us as entrepreneurs jumped into, we have to become virtual, and that's survival. I mean, we need to sell, no income is not good. But then I would just say, we have to be cautious that we're not just throwing out content, but that we're actually really listening to where our clients are at. And is the programming we had the program we should be having now, or what adjustments do I have to make so that it's truly fitting and answering the needs of the clients that I'm serving?
Right, right. And I think that is true, that the joys of working at home. I remember back in the day when I used to be in outside sales, and people would say, "Oh, that must be so exciting. Oh, I would love to do that." Well, the reality of outside sales is you are living out of a suitcase. You come home, you got to get all your stuff cleaned up, either washing, dry cleaning, repacking, and then get ready for the next, round of out and about. Not as glamorous as it all sounds. And I think, I get to work from home. Sounds really fun. And I've been working from home for many years now. I leaped out of the corporate world and, went to work for myself. And I like working from home, but I don't have children to homeschool. We did have a dog, and, she's gone. And, but she was sort of, kind of puddling in and out of the office and wanting to be petted. And I'm like, "Oh, hello, client. Yes. Excuse me for a second. I have to pet my dog." It was not as smooth as we all think it is. I always did, for me at least, I have to get dressed. I can't be in PJs. I can't have slippers on. My mind just doesn't work like that. I have to be ready to work. So, I mean, this is a lot of change that we have been going through. And how does this change? I mean, these are high levels of change and really turbulence in our lives, not being able to get in the car, go to work, sit in the office, talk to, Joe over here and Mary over here. And how does that impact us as people?
It's a great question. As human beings, most of us, not everyone, but most of us tend to resist this kind of high level of change. And I always like to say, human beings, we have been created wondrously. And part of our inner DNA, part of what makes us drive is this drive to survive. And we're here today. We're here because we have this amazing mechanism which has helped us as human beings to survive. However, we have to realize that in the midst of this pandemic, we are in survival mode. I mean, there is a very clear threat to our lives. We watch the news and we hear news about survival. We hear news about deaths. We hear news about, and there's confusion about what works, what doesn't work, what's this. So we're digesting this daily. And so I think we got to understand is that impacts us. That impacts, first of all, how we function. And so what tends to happen as a human person when we're constantly looking for threat. And when we feel threatened, we go into the famous fight or flight response. And that has consequences. And the consequences are how it shows up. And one of the ways, for example, let me just, at an entrepreneurial level, one of the ways it shows up, for example, is that we look for quick fixes. Whenever we're under this kind of threat, what's the easy answer? How can I get there? And we tend to shut things down. Curiosity goes out the window. We don't have time to be curious. I'm here to survive. Curiosity, and so part of like we talked about a little bit at the beginning is like what programs are best serving my clients, and all of that requires curiosity and questioning. But if we're in this mood of survival, it goes against some of the creativity we have as well. So I think part of it is to realize that, and I think, rather than curse that, to celebrate it. You know what? Hey, I'm here today because when I met a dinosaur, I didn't stop and think, oh, I wonder how I'm going to respond to that dinosaur. Oh, it looks angry. Maybe I should go. Maybe I shouldn't. No, before we even thought about it, we skedaddled. We went away. And that's inherited. That comes to us today. And so all of this, many of us are under this extended fight or flight mood. And I think we have to appreciate how that impacts us and impacts our clients.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I don't think I would have stuck around wondering about the dinosaur. I think I would have, like you say, get out of Dodge. Absolutely, absolutely.
The dinosaur, but come on.
Well, the one with the little arms, maybe, the T-Rex guy. I think I could have fought him, maybe. But anyway, that's another subject for another interview. So can we manage this? How this impacts us? What's the best way that we could manage this crazy thing that we face every day?
So it's a great question. And I say, yes, we absolutely can. At the core of what I do is about emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence can be a very scary topic. But what I always like to say about emotional intelligence is, unlike IQ, where you reach a certain limit and you can make adjustments here and there and improve it. But with EQ, oh boy, with emotional intelligence, you can improve it throughout your life. And at the core, the foundation is self-awareness. And so what I've been trying to pass on to the people I'm working with at the moment is this is a great opportunity to become more self-aware. And part of becoming self-aware in this is knowing what's triggering you. Just the very, some people are really good if you ask them the question, how are you feeling today? And not just giving the perfunctory, oh, I'm fine, but really knowing how they're feeling. For some people, that's an exercise in mystery. I don't know how I feel. I really don't know how I feel. So part of that self-awareness is, what emotion am I feeling? And to realize, what are the triggers? How do I feel when I listen to the news? How do I feel when I get the email from a client that says, you know what, that engagement we had in September the 10th, it's off. How do I feel when I look at my balance book and I know something needs to change in the next couple of months? So to become self-aware and be self-aware, is that triggering me? And is that even bringing me into a more defensive mode? And so I think part of it is to begin to notice patterns. I always like the power of journaling, just to write down, here's what I'm noticing. This happens and this is how I feel and this is the way I behave. That's really at the core of emotional intelligence.
Wow, that's really great advice to journal that. And for those of you who don't like to journal, I suggest make a list of how you feel. You don't need to journal. Forget that journaly thing. Yeah. Just make a list of how you feel. You're listing things. You're not journaling. Ugh, that journal thing.
Or if you're like me, I'm not a great writer. I'm a talker. So sometimes I even say to clients, just get a recorder in your phone, press record. It really what's important is it's the stopping and acknowledging and putting it down. That's important. And really to kind of really, what is happening now and what am I feeling?
I love it. I think that's perfect. And I'm not a great writer. And when I write, I actually speak it and then I transcribe it. That's a great suggestion. Thank you so much. So we're verbally journaling and or verbally making those lists for those who hate journaling. So along with making these lists, are there other practical exercises that'll help us kind of get through this?
There is. I mean, so let me. There's one that I developed, which I call the 7-second reset, and really it is an exercise that can be done anywhere and really in the moment, especially when you feel a little bit triggered. And where the 7 seconds come, second number one is putting your feet on the ground. Believe it or not, that physicality of touching the ground, of our mind going down to what does that feel like? What does my shoe feel like? What does my foot feel in my shoe? Gets us away from some of the emotional trigger that we're in. So just that simple of grounding ourselves and realize we're grounding. Seconds 2, 3, and 4 is breathing in. And as we breathe in, I want us to notice, what posture are we in? You know, because sometimes when we feel triggered or whatever, we've already become closed. We've gone into almost a fear mode. You know, we're kind of in protective mode, or else we become angry, and all of a sudden we realize that we're warm and our hands are ready, and we're kind of almost moved in. You know, because we're ready. We're ready to respond. And then as we breathe out, seconds 5, 6, and 7, it's almost to make an adjustment. Is this posture serving me now? Is this serving the way that I need to be at the moment? And if not, then just make an adjustment. So what would adjustment be? Kind of what posture? Open posture, an able, receptive posture. Now that sounds a lot easier than it is, because it's the habit to remember to do it in the moment. But these, you know, what makes highly emotionally intelligent people a little bit different is that they have learned the ability that in the midst of the emotions, they have this little space where they get to choose how they react. Wow. And so we move away from being very reactive into actually choosing how we'll react.
Right. And I'm really good at, you know, reacting. I am a reactive person, absolutely. And my emotions are like, you know what they are when I got them. And so taking this 7 seconds, and you think, oh, I'm not going to sit there and go, okay, my feet are on the ground. What am I thinking about? But truly, 7 seconds is so short, but that would be so powerful to be able to just bring yourself down for just those few seconds. And I'm not saying I know anything, because I didn't know I was doing it, but I actually have done something like this. You know, when people say, just, you know, count to 10, I think that's part of that, taking that breath. What are you doing? But I think this is giving us something conscious to do. You're conscious of that feeling, that reaction, instead of just, okay, count to 10. Okay, I'm still just as mad. Okay, well,
yeah, and it's acknowledging, you know, one of the things that I try and get into in the work that I do is anger isn't always bad. We have a tendency to demonize some emotions, like anger is bad. Oh, we shouldn't be angry. I said, no, anger is an emotion. It is a response, and sometimes it can be destructive, the way we use it, but sometimes it's constructive. You know, sometimes our anger can motivate us and can move us to do amazing things. Sometimes our anger is righteous because we have been hurt, and it is good for us to respond with anger. So I always that's why I say in that moment, it is the way I'm feeling serving me in the moment. Is this likely to, and if not, well, then what adjustments can I make? And because I think, you know, our emotions are beautiful. They came as part of the package of being a human being, and we can harness them. Wow, it is amazing the connections we can make. It's amazing how we can use them to really deepen the relationships we have, and also just improve the way that we're communicating and connecting with others, and really understanding ourselves in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think right now is a great time to be more aware of how we're feeling and how that affects not just us, but how we express ourselves to others, how other people see us. We may not think we're showing anxiety or stress, but other people may be going, wow, Dana is, being she must be angry today. Well, and I'm not angry, I'm just stressed out about something, but how am I coming across to others? And this would be very helpful for me to share and to do on a regular basis. And I love this information, and I think the people who are watching, this is great stuff, and we really need to take a step back and listen to this. So I just really appreciate what you have to say, and how you share these things. And I'd like to share some information for our viewers. Irvine, this is your email address and your phone number. So if those out there would like to learn more about emotional intelligence and how that affects you, your company, your teams, please get a hold of Irvine. He's easy to work with. He's more fun than what you see on this interview. He is absolutely wonderful. I'm not going to tell you he's intelligent, but he is. It's very annoying. And, and go look at his website. Lots of great information. You've got a great video on there, and it really does give some good insight about what you do. So if you go to irvinenugent.com, watch his video that's on there, and reach out to Irvine if you have any questions. This is my information, Dana Morgan Barnes at CoachDanaInspires.com. And I would love to hear from you. If you have anybody that you think I should be interviewing, if you have questions for me or for Irvine, let me know, and we'll see if we can get those answered for you. And in the meantime, Irvine, I want to thank you so much for being here. It's been great. I just enjoyed the information that you share. Do you have one little snippet you could share with us before we go?
One thing is as well, if you want, every Wednesday I've given educational video on YouTube. So look for me on YouTube if you want to dive in a little deeper. I'm writing a book at the moment, Leadership Lessons from the Pub. I grew up in a pub, and the inspiration behind it is really my father. And one of the things my father used to say, be careful of your mood, because it'll be reflected in the customers within an hour.
Ooh.
Just
be
aware of your mood, because just like this virus is spreading and we don't know, our emotions as well spread. And how we show up very often is reflected back to us. So if we're in charge of that, we get to show up, and we're in charge of the mood we have.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Irvine. So look for Irvine on YouTube for every Wednesday. He'll throw out an inspiration. And if you've missed him up till now, you can go back and watch some of those inspirations. So that's really exciting. Thanks so much. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Irvine. And we'll be talking to you soon. Thanks, everybody. Take care.